In this video, we're going to be finding 2 points that satisfy linear equations. What is a point? A point is x comma y in parentheses, that's how we write a point, where x is the point's location on the x-axis and y is the point's location on the y-axis. So here I have an example. This point is 4 comma 2 in parentheses, so that means that x is equal to 4. 4 would be the x value or the x coordinate, and that is where the point is located on the x-axis at x equal to 4. And then y equal to 2 is the y value of that point, which is 2. It's also the y coordinate of the point, and 2 is where the point is located on the y-axis. So what is a line? A line is made up of a set of points. A line has at least 2 points. Every line has an equation with an x or a y or both. And so x equal to -2 would be an equation for a line, y equal to -2 would be an equation for a line, and y equal to -7/4x is also an example of an equation of a line. Example 1, find any 2 points that satisfy the equation x equal to -2. So what this means is that for both of the 2 points, x is going to equal -2. And so I'm going to go ahead and put -2 in as for my x values on these 2 points. These x coordinates are going to be -2. And then now I'm just going to pick y coordinates for the other 2 points. And so for the first one, I'm going to pick 5. And then for the second one, I'm going to pick -8. And so -2 comma 5 is where the first point that I'm going to have that will satisfy the equation x equal to -2. And then -2 comma -8 will be my second point that satisfies the equation x equal to -2. That creates a vertical line at x equal to -2. Example 2, find any 2 points that satisfy the equation y equal to -2. This is very similar to example 1, except this time y is equal to -2. So I'm going to follow the same process, and for both of my points, -2 is going to be my y value or my y coordinate. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in for my points, and then now I'm just going to pick an x value or an x coordinate for these 2 points. And so for my first one, I'm just going to pick 9. And then for my second one, I'm going to pick 0, and then I'm just going to plot them on the graph. 9 comma -2 is located right here, and then 0 comma -2 is located right here. And then when you connect those, they create a line, and it's actually a horizontal line at y equal to -2. Example 3, find any 2 points that satisfy the equation y equals 5/2x minus 9. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to create an xy table, and I'm going to pick x to be 0 for as my first x coordinate. And then I'm going to substitute in 0 in for my x, and so wherever I see x, I'm going to put parentheses, and I'm going to put 0 inside of that parentheses, and then I'm going to solve the equation for y. And so when I do that, I'll have y equal to 5/2 and parentheses 0 minus 9. That gives us -9 as my y value, my y coordinate. So my point would be 0 comma -9. Next, I'm just going to pick another x value to substitute into the equation, and I'm just going to keep it simple, and I'm just going to pick x equal to 1. And so wherever you see an x, you put parentheses there and you put 1 in for x, and then you solve the equation for y. So y equals 5/2 parentheses 1 minus 9. That will equal, if you put that in your calculator, it will simplify down to be -13/2, which means my point would be 1 comma -13/2 as my 2 points that satisfy the equation. Example 4, find any 2 points that satisfy the equation -3x minus 2y equal to 9. And so I'm going to follow a similar approach as I did in example 3. I'm going to choose 0 as my x coordinate for my first point, and then I'm going to substitute it into the equation where I see the x, and I'm going to then solve for y to get my y value to get my final point. And so when I do that, it's actually not as straightforward as the previous example, and so I'm going to have to do some algebra to solve for y this time, and so I'm going to do that outside of my table. Negative 3 times 0 minus 2y equal to 9. Anything times 0 is 0, and so the negative 3 times 0 will go away, and I'm left with negative 2y equal to 9. So then to solve this, I have to divide by negative 2 on both sides, and I'm left with the y value to be negative 9 over 2. And so for my point, my first point will be 0 comma negative 9 over 2 inside parentheses. Next, I'm going to pick 1 again for my x coordinate, and then I'm going to substitute it into the equation where I see the x, and then I'm going to solve for y. And so I'm going to do that again outside of the table. And I have negative 3 times 1 minus 2y equal to 9. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, so I'm going to bring that down, and then I'm going to bring down the minus 2y equal to 9. Next, to solve this equation, I need, since it's a minus 3 and negative 3, I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I'm going to add the 3 with the 9, so I'm going to be left with negative 2y equal to 12. And then my last step here, I need to divide both sides by negative 2. And so 12 divided by negative 2 will give me y equal to negative 6. And so that will leave me with my point to be 1 comma negative 6 inside parentheses. And so those would be my 2 points that satisfy the equation, negative 3x minus 2y equal to 9. And just note that I could choose any x value here instead of 0 and 1. I just like to be consistent and do the same thing every time, and so that's what you're going to see in the next example as well. Example 5, find any 2 points that satisfy the equation 3x minus 2y equal to 0. Again, I'm going to pick x to be 0 as my first x value that I'm going to substitute into the equation for x. So where I see x, I'm going to put 0. And then I'm going to solve the equation for y. To do that, I'm going to come outside of the table because I have to do a little bit of algebra to solve for y. 3 times 0 minus 2y equals to 0. 3 times 0 is 0, and so I have negative 2y equal to 0. And then the step here would be to divide both sides by negative 2. 0 divided by negative 2 gives me 0 for my y value. And so my point's going to be 0 comma 0 inside of parentheses as my first point to satisfy the equation. Next, I'm going to pick 1 for my x value, and so where I see x, I'm going to substitute in 1, and then I'm going to solve for y. I'm going to do so outside of the table. 3 times 1 minus 2y equal to 0. 3 times 1 is 3, and then I have 3 minus 2y is equal to 0. I have a positive 3, the 3 is being added, and so to move it to the other side of the equation, I have to subtract 3 on both sides. 0 minus 3 is negative 3, so then I have negative 2y equal to negative 3. My final step here is to divide both sides by negative 2, and so when I do that, I'm going to get a simplified fraction to be y equal to 3 over 2, positive, and my point would be 1 comma 3 over 2 inside parentheses, and so those would be my 2 points to satisfy the equation 3x minus 2y equal to 0.